Hello and welcome to another episode of the Gotta Read 'em All podcast, a Pokemon podcast. This is a spinoff of the Otakuology podcast. We haven't done one of these in quite some time, but we are back again looking at and talking about chapter 28, A Piece of Mime, which is a fun little chapter, I have to say. But with me as always is my heterosexual podcast life partner, Mr. Jin. How's it going, buddy?
Pretty good, pretty good.
You excited to talk about
Mr. Jin?
Pokemon?
Yeah, we're finally getting into. Well, for me, it's the third book, so
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm excited for us to get done or start getting done with like the first part of Red, Blue, Green.
Yeah. Me too. Because I want to know what happens. Because this is my first time reading through this series.
Right? It makes
Like,
me laugh though, because every time we record a show for Pokemon, I feel like you always go, yeah, this is we haven't recorded this in a long time.
I mean, we haven't. It's been like a couple months since we.
Somebody's gonna go back and listen to our Pokemon ones and be like, "Yeah, Mike said that like 47 times."
I
I'm
mean,
gonna have
yeah,
to be like,
because
"Not possible."
we kind of get on like these like tangents of like doing other things, and we
That's
don't
true.
we don't focus on the Pokemon stuff as much as we kind of used to, We
That's
used to
true.
we used to do like a couple a month.
That's true. Or we do one big show and one Pokemon show for a while.
Yeah. Yeah. But I just want to say before starting out, I love the messages from the writer and artist at the very beginning. Do you have those at all in your book?
I don't think so.
Okay, so at the beginning of my because I think this is the beginning of book 3 for you. So at the beginning, like there's a message from the author or the writer, and he's like, Pokemon Adventures is already on its third volume now. Red, blue, and green. Charge into Sylph. Is it Sylphco or Sylph City? What is the name of it?
I think Sylph is the building.
Sylphco, headquarters of Team Rocket. What battle what battle will unfold? Check out how everyone has improved, and then we get a message from the artist, and the artist says, "One battle after another, I grip my pen really hard while drawing this third volume. It felt like I was the one fighting as I drew the battle scenes." Take your time to
Um,
enjoy this book. We finished every chapter barely on schedule each month.
Hey, so I found it. Mine's at the end.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah, you have the little
Okay.
picture of the guy pinching the Oddish with the
Yeah.
glasses.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I just thought that was funny to see because I love little like insights like that with like the artist or like the mangaka and stuff like
I
that.
do too. Let me tell you, because I've been finishing off a bunch of manga because I've only had like 3 or 4 of them,
Hmm.
and some of the newer ones, the people don't do that anymore.
Yeah, no, they don't.
They
Or
don't
they'll
have
like
like
do something
their
at the very end of the book.
That's what I'm saying. Like at the
Yeah.
end, they
Yeah.
they won't have like a closing like thank you,
Yeah.
and oh man, I don't know why. But some of the series, whenever I read that and I get to that point, I'm like, I'm docking you half a star for that. Like irritates the shit out of me because I'm like, that was one of the best parts is getting to the end and like reading that. I'm like, oh yeah,
But I
love
like I
it.
like seeing like their mindset and like, oh yeah, we're getting ready, and then the artist is like, yeah, this took us like, I guess it took them a while to get through like drawing and stuff, which I wonder because after this, I think no, after Yellow, this artist goes away, I
Yeah,
believe, and we get the new artist. So I wonder, like, could they handle the monthly grind? You know, which I like. I like this artist more than the other artist. Just saying,
the
like,
one right now.
yeah, I like the one right now. I do really do. Um, I've looked
I
at
really,
some of the
I
other
really
stuff, and
can't tell the difference.
I mean, it's really hard to tell the difference.
Yeah.
but I mean, I can tell the difference. Like I can see it. Like I can see definitely like
Oh.
the other artist definitely copies this artist's
Yeah.
like a lot. But but let's get into this book. You want to start us off talking
So
about
we're
what
gonna
happened?
get into chapter 28, Piece of Mime.
Yeah.
So we start right after the events of chapter 27, which is where we saw like Dark Professor Oak, which was
Yeah.
actually just an illusion. And Red and Blue both went to go basically check on him.
Mhm.
After the illusion is broken, then they basically see that the lab is really just like the broken foundation with a little bit of the walls still on it. Not even the full thing. And
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
now we're getting into this one where they are standing outside of this wreckage or ruin of the lab and talking about what is going on slash what is going to happen. Um, so they're going to basically try and go back to Sylph City or whatever it is.
Saffron City, sorry. Saffron City.
There we go.
Silphco is the place.
Sylph, and it's the tower, yeah.
Yeah, Silphco is the tower. Yeah.
And so they're going back to Saffron City, and they're trying to get ready for the final showdown between them and Team Rocket.
That's true. And there's Blue talks to Red about this and how we got to team up with each other at one point. He says take on the final battle, and Red starts talking about how he transferred his Pokemon with Bill to Cinder Professor Oak, and apparently all the Pokemon he transferred are gone. I don't remember when this happened. Did this happen like off screen that we didn't know about? When
Yeah, but it's not all of his Pokemon. Eevee's the only one that's gone.
Okay, Eevee's the only one that's gone. I thought it was more than just Eevee.
No, it's just
Like
Eevee.
I thought it was maybe like other Pokemon that he caught throughout his journey.
Yeah,
Like not his main team that he uses right now, but other like the backlog of Pokemon that he's caught. Because
yeah. Uh, no, I think it was just Eevee because remember Eevee had the chip in him that
hmm
somebody was working on because of the potential transformations that Eevee could go through.
okay,
So there was a reason why originally they had Eevee that way.
yeah. And
Um,
so Blue happens to say that only Red's Pokemon were touched, and it was Red's fault that this happened at all because it shows that Blue's Pokemon, nobody took Blue's Pokemon,
harsh.
which which is weird because I thought Team Rocket wanted like all strong Pokemon. Maybe.
This is true. I really think it's probably just an inside job. Get in, get out as fast as they can, you know.
Yeah.
So Eevee's what they were looking for to complete whatever craziness that they have going on.
And then Red ends up getting mad. He throws a punch at Blue. Blue, he just, ever so gently just puts his hand up and catches Red's fists. I don't think Red's a really good fighter when it comes to hand combat. Um, but Blue ends up telling Red that he's going to deal with Team Rocket on his own, stay out of his way. And Blue's like, I really don't care what you want. I'm going to do this because I'm the capable one. And Red's kind of like hemming and hawing over this. Like he's really mad at Blue at this point because they really can't work together. It seems like.
Right. Well, and then I like this next part because then we get into where uh, Blue is telling Red about why Professor Oak picked Pallet Town as their like
Yes.
main base.
Uh huh.
Um, and he said part of it basically is that this whole thing with Mew started, and he's trying to look for him, and that Pallet Town was also supposed to be his palette PALETTE because it was basically the blank palette of where everything could happen
Mhm.
and that the town was pristine, and that there was a lack of pollution compared to the other bigger towns that
It's
Professor Oak could have
true.
built his
It's
lab in.
true. Really interesting to think about in that aspect of, the town not really truly being touched by like I can almost say modern man, but like civilization.
Yeah.
Like there's people who live here, but it's very much like not like a rural town, where like it's
Yes.
like sporadic, they live in the country, as we like to say down in the South, you know.
Country.
You live in the country where they're spread out more, there's not really a city. And which really goes with like, the video game. Like when you start with Pallet Town, there's not much in Pallet Town.
No, there's like 4 buildings, so
So it makes perfect sense. Like, yeah, okay, yeah, we'll go with that, which is funny
yeah.
to think about.
Oh no, I was thinking the same thing, and then I was like, well, I'm glad that we at least in this we get a few more houses, even though they're just
Yeah.
more spread out.
But Blue ends up flying off on his Charizard to go to Saffron City. Red follows on his Aerodactyl. I totally forgot Red had his Aerodactyl. Like, I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, he has one. Which is funny because like I always forget something. I feel like whenever we come back to this,
Of
like
who's got which Pokemon?
who's got which Pokemon or like what exactly happened.
Yeah.
Because I forget. I forget like some small things here and there. Like, oh yeah, they did like put drugs into a Rhyhorn to make it super strong, at one point. So,
Yeah, like
they
chapter 2.
yeah.
Yeah, and then Giovanni gave him the amber, and he took it to the lab to get,
Yeah.
or for Blaine to give him the Aerodactyl.
Yeah. Yeah. Like I kind of forgot about that. Um, but I know, right, Blue goes to attack the barrier that's around Saffron City. He's like, this barrier is huge. I don't know like what's going on. There's got to be a weak spot somewhere. And Red comes in with his Aerodactyl using Hyper Beam, and I love this scene where he's like, yeah, there's got to be a weak spot too. Like they're both thinking the same thing. And he's like, it goes from top to bottom. Like, what if like the top is like there's nothing on top? What if we could just fly through? Like, I love the
Yeah,
scene where they're both flying around, and I like it that Red has his arms like spread out, like he's flying like Superman.
yeah,
Because Aerodactyl's holding him by his arms, and
shoulders.
Blue's his shoulders like Blue is like, hey, quit copying me. And he's like, who's copying who? There's always that little rivalry between them, which I love
There is
seeing.
for sure.
Yeah,
And I mean, I guess they have the same idea through most of it because they go to the top and they keep using their abilities together, which I assume that it's probably flamethrower and hyper beam every
yeah, it
time.
is. It is. Yeah,
Of course, then we have like Green in the background holding on to Jigglypuff's leg, like, ha ha ha, I'll just let them do everything.
yeah. She's like, oh, those two. I didn't know they obviously. I guess they knew each other. Is what she says at one point. And yeah, and they're trying to figure it out. And I like this scene where Blue gets his Golduck to use what was it, like confusion, I think it
Confusion.
was. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I never knew like what confusion was, so you can probably tell me more.
You
Uh
make people confused.
oh, I mean like how he's like able to like read things, like
Yeah.
put his hand, like he was able to find the
Yeah. They use it kind of like telekinesis, so I think it's
yeah.
kind of funny with part of that. But yeah, he puts his hand on something. You know what this part reminded me of?
What?
Abe Sapien from Hellboy,
Yes, it
where
does. It
he's like
does.
he's like, "Oh my god, there's something in it." Like
Yeah,
he could tell you just from putting his hand on it.
and like he can like transmit what he's seeing like with this confusion psychic technique to Blue's Pokédex. And I popped really hard for this when we see Mr. Mime doing his Mr. Mime stuff, and then we get a close up of Blue's Pokédex, and it's a picture from the video game.
Yes.
I was like, whoa.
Yes. I love it.
Yeah. And then Red comes down and he's like, okay, I think I got this. And he uses Pikachu's substitute, which I know he's used substitute before, but has he used substitute like this? How he's done it? Like, I know he.
No.
I was like, whoa, substitute is kind of powerful. It
Yeah.
seems like, because like he was like
It almost seems like double team.
kind of, yeah, but he like makes like an electric energy version of himself, is what they
Yes.
say. And electric energy Pikachu goes through the barrier and he's like running around. Nobody can see him, which I think is kind of cool. But I guess Red can see him. But like Team Rocket don't see him when he passes around them and stuff.
I think Pikachu can see him. Like Pikachu can see through his eyes.
Oh, okay.
And then and Green comes back in and basically says, "Oh, what do you think? This is a video game?
Yeah, because
You have to work together."
they're not working together, and then they end up starting to work together, which I like it when they work together. They're very much like two halves of the same coin. And
You mean they may be like two co-hosts of Otakuology?
maybe, yeah, maybe. But like they end up working together where Golduck uses confusion to transmit through Pikachu to show where Mr. Mime is. And Mr. Mime's just doing his Mr. Mime thing, which I think is funny. Like I think Mr. Mime is always funny. Like regardless of what people think about Mr. Mime, I like him.
Right?
I like him a lot. And so they end up working together. They find Mr. Mime and they attack him, but it turns out that he's like, was Mr. Mime an illusion or a decoy?
He made himself an illusion.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, because he can wrap himself in illusion to do that, and with the combo that they're doing right now, Pikachu could just attack the illusion, but because of Golduck using the hypnosis to know where he's at, the illusion basically they know that it's not real.
Okay. And Pikachu ends up using Thunderbolt or Energy
Thunderbolt.
Pikachu uses Thunderbolts, which I
Yeah.
was like, okay, yeah, definitely like substitute is OP if he can be throwing around like that kind of attack.
Right, definitely.
And they end up going away, and the barrier ends up dropping, and they're like, "Yeah, we got it, yeah." And which leads Green to be able to basically use Red and Blue to get what she wants, because she also wants to get in there, because she was really no help to him, except for probably like
Except for the suggestion of working together.
except for the suggestion of working together.
Yeah.
But they end up getting into the uh, Saffron City. Uh, Red's kind of clueless still a little bit, like why are they here, kind of thing. It seems like, but Blue is looking for the specific person who he's looking for. I'm guessing it's Lieutenant Surge, which I
I
didn't
think
know.
they're just trying to find somebody, and Lieutenant Surge sees them.
Okay, okay, because
But
I was like,
I really like the bubble when they're walking in there, and Red's mad at Blue, and he says, "I didn't help you, so you could make this your show."
yeah, that was funny. But which made me think about like, did Blue know Lieutenant Surge at
I
all?
don't think so.
Okay,
I think he was just waiting for somebody to come in,
yeah, and so
and
yeah,
then it turns into the Yu Yu Hakusho traveling around for the
they
tournament.
yeah, and so they end up going to the Silphco building. It looks like, and Red ends up falling through a hole in the floor, and Blue gets hit by, or some shurikens get thrown near Blue, And that is where this chapter ends. So let me ask you, as we always say, what did you think of this chapter?
Oh, I mean, I like this one.
Yeah,
Just because we kind of got like that whole working together thing.
yeah,
We got why Professor Oak was there. We got to see some cool, Pokemon stuff,
mhm,
and we also kind of got to see, um, like abilities getting used, but not for like what they're supposed to be used for.
yeah. I feel like they took liberties with those abilities, but
Yeah,
made them like cool.
I agree.
Like,
I
and I was
agree.
like, oh man, like, have we been using those abilities like wrong this whole time?
Those I can't do that in the video game.
Yeah, you
You
know,
um, yeah. I mean, I 100% really enjoyed that. Um, Now, and I do think that we are kind of seeing it too, kind of like the early stages, since we have been talking about Digimon as well,
yeah,
of how this kind of connection between red and blue is kind of like Matt and Ty.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Totally, totally. I could see that. Yeah, it's very much like a characteristic trait in most like rivalries between two boys in a manga. You know,
yeah,
yeah. But I mean, I like this one as well. I like because I've read a little bit further on, and I like this little story
you
arc.
monster.
I read the first like the next like chapter,
Yeah,
but I like this little slice of story arc more than the bird story arc we had before. Like I wasn't the the most like keen or on like the whole capturing the legendary bird story arc. Like I didn't care for it as much.
right.
Maybe it's because we I just didn't read it. Like there was like a whole gap between reading it and stuff. But I like this one more because there was more to chew on. I guess you could say in this because it pulls off of that story and like builds off of it and later on we'll
Yeah,
talk about it, like what happens with the birds and stuff. But I liked red and blue coming together because they're always at odds, and we've only seen them work together a couple of times.
yeah.
And I really want to get to that point where like they're rivals, but they're like friends.
Or they're
They're
frenemies.
frenemies, yeah, but like they have respect for each other, and eventually I know they do because I've seen a couple of the games later on where they have like respect for each other and stuff. Um, they have a lot of growing to do, uh, and I like you said, like I like seeing those abilities being used.
Yeah,
I think the creators, the mangaka, and the artists in this are very much taking liberties with the Pokemon world
yeah.
in a sense, and
Well,
but I like it. I like that they're taking these little liberties.
yeah. Well, and the other thing I want to point out is don't forget too, like if we're going off of this right, then their Pokemon journey started when they were like 10. So, I mean, they're still kind of like little kids.
Yeah,
While I know whenever we get into like the events that happen in yellow, they are a little older.
yeah, they are a little older, and then eventually with I think was it Sun and Moon, they end up they're like in their 20s, I think,
Yeah. I think
later
I
on.
think everything as we move forward, they get a little older.
Yeah, they get a little older and stuff, which I like to see. We always like to see our characters grow. Unlike Ash Ketchum, never grows.
I know, right? Never grows until he died, quote
Yeah,
unquote.
but I like this chapter a lot. I know I say that about most of the Pokemon stuff, but I do as reading this for the first time, I like reading it and I like having somebody to talk to about it. Like
Yeah.
and like bounce off my weird theories that I might have and stuff. Like I thought there was
Yeah.
gonna be an illegal drug ring at one point for Team Rocket because they were shooting up their Pokemon with heroin, or when
Right?
Reds, or when Red smuggled his Pokeball in his butthole. It's for the Safari Zone.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
I don't know if that happened per se, but
Look. This is my head canon. Okay,
oh my gosh, not your head cannon.
this is my head canon. What my head canon is like all canon. So
Your head cannon is all canon.
yeah.
You sure you didn't come out of like a Jujutsu Kaisen or something like that?
No, I don't.
Or
I don't.
or what's that other one that came out? The the one where the guy's got the big like revolver as a head.
Oh, no guns life.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what you came out of. That's your world.
Yeah, but yeah. I mean, this one's good, and it really like once got me. Like I feel like we're in the home stretch of like things are gonna get rolling. I feel
Right?
like because we're they said even before like we're in the final battle. The final battle is going to possibly be this entire book. We'll see, you know. But like it's like like things are getting put into motion, which I want to find out what they are because eventually I would like to get out of this reading
I
this
want to
omnibus.
know what else you were doing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Do you have any final thoughts?
Yeah. I kind of feel like we need to have Green a little more into the story a little bit because I feel like right now, well, she had the good idea. She wasn't a key player.
It's true. It's true. You're not wrong about that. Which we've had Green before show up, and I hope I that's one thing I hope as well is that she does become a big player within the the final parts of these this last volume for the
Right.
first omnibus. You know,
Right. So,
but I mean,
but anyway,
you've read before. You've read like ahead of me, so you kind of know what's going to happen.
maybe.
You know.
But anyway, just
Anyway,
like Team Rocket, I guess we'll have to be blasting off again. And for all of our people that are out there, we'll have to see you next Tuesday.
see you next Tuesday. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you guys on the next episode. Is hopefully we're going to be on a regular basis with our Pokemon episodes because we both like talking about these.
Because we got to read them all.
We gotta read them all. That's right.